Hi everybody, this is Joe, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to play What's Her Name by Green Day. Okay, so first off, in order to play the song you really only need to know 5 chords, and I'll let you know what those chords are now. They are essentially G major, which is G, B, and D. G major. You'll also need to know D major, which is D, F sharp, and A. So that's D major. You'll also need to know F sharp major, which is just F sharp, B flat, and C sharp. That's F sharp major. You'll also need to know B minor, which is B, D, and F sharp. You'll also need to know A major, which is A, C sharp, and E, A major. So, once again, you'll need to know G major, D major, F sharp major, B minor, and A major. If you know these 5 chords, you should be good to go for more or less the entire song. Okay, so this is how we're going to go over the tutorial. First, I'm going to essentially tell you how to play each individual piece of the song. That is verse by verse, chorus by chorus, instrumental by instrumental, and then we'll piece the entire thing together. Okay, so let's start off with the very beginning, the instrumental part that sounds kind of like this. Okay, so if you want to stylize it yourself or if you want to stay faithful to the song, either way, you just need to know that at the very beginning, the opening instrumental just involves you hitting 2 chords, D major and B minor. So D major and B minor. And I usually just play this with my left hand. So the opening, it's just D major and B minor in pairs times 2. And you just play it for a little bit. The pattern I usually use when I play this, by the way, is I play the chords in a tetrad, which means I play 4 notes. Okay, so if I want to play D major in a tetrad, I would put my pinky on D, my middle finger on F sharp, my index finger on A, and my thumb on D major. And I'll sort of straddle the notes at a 2 at a time. So I might play DA with my pinky and my index finger, and then F sharp and D with my middle finger and thumb. And I kind of just alternate. So hopefully you can sort of observe the pattern I'm using right now. I'm kind of playing 2 notes with my pinky and my index finger. Then my middle finger will hit F sharp, and then my index finger and my thumb will hit A and D together. And I'll use this same pattern again pretty much when it's time to play B minor. You don't have to use this pattern, it's just the concept is that you don't just play chords like unbroken, because it comes across as boring. I mean, you can start off playing chords unbroken just when you're learning the song and trying to memorize the chords, but if you want your song to sound interesting, when you get more proficient at it, it's time to start breaking up the chords into interesting patterns. You can choose whatever pattern you want. You could do this, or you could do same chords, just playing it in different ways. So, let's continue. The opening part of the song goes like this. Okay? Just D major and B minor, very easy. When the lyrics first come in, I'm going to call this verse 1, and it's essentially the part that goes, "Thought I ran into you down on the street, then it turned out to only be a dream." Again, for verse 1, you just really need to know D major and B minor. So while your left hand is playing D major, "Thought I ran into you down," all of that is in D major, and your right hand is just playing F sharp and A essentially. And then E as well. So and then that's when we switch from D major to B minor. On the streets. Okay? So let's try it again. I'm gonna play unbroken chords with my left hand for now, so it'll sound boring, but it'll be easy to keep up with. So, D major. Thought I ran into you down. B minor. Down the street. Then we're gonna go back into D major. Then it turned out to only. Now for B minor. Be a dream. And that's essentially verse 1. It's just 2 sentences, you only need 2 chords. Very easy. Now we're gonna move on to the chorus. In this case, the chorus just involves 5 chords played repeatedly, okay? Those 5 chords are G major, D major, F sharp major, B minor, and A major. And then you repeat. So the chorus goes like this. I made a point to burn all of the photographs. She went away and then I took a different path. I remember the face but I can't recall her name. Da 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 da. Now I wonder how what's her name has been. Okay, so take your left hand and put it on G major, okay? I play it in a tetrad, so that's G, B, D, and G. So G major. Meanwhile, your right hand is playing the following. Thumb on G, middle finger on B, okay? It's gonna play this. Pretty easy, right? Your fingers are pretty much playing within a very small range over here. Meanwhile, your left hand is playing the following chords, okay? G major, D major, F sharp major, B minor. And then at this point, your left hand after playing B minor goes into A major, back into G major. Know how it conveniently slides down like almost seemingly one note at a time. And all I'm doing is playing the chords in tetrads. So for instance, B minor, I'm playing B, D, F sharp, B. A major is just A, C sharp, E, A. And G major is just comfortably back down to G, B, D, and G. Okay? So let's try again. What you can do while you're you could just do that, where your left hand is playing stuff and your right hand isn't doing anything. But you know, when you get better at the song and you want to sort of make the song sound a little bit more interesting, you can do what I like to call, you can add some fills, okay? So, you know, your right hand is usually imitating the vocal melody, but you know, there are times in the song when you know, no singing actually occurs. You might as well do something with your right hand to make the song interesting, okay? So check it out. I made a point to burn all of the photographs. Now with my right hand, I'm just gonna do this. Okay, so that way now my right hand is playing something that's not covered by the vocal melody, just to make the song a little bit more rich. I mean, the idea is that like your right hand could either be doing nothing or it could be doing something, and chances are the song will sound better if your right hand is doing something as opposed to nothing, okay? So, once again. I made a point to burn all of the photographs. Da, 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 da. So my right hand is doing a fill when my left hand is playing A major and G major, okay? Da, 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 da. The second line of the chorus, exactly the same thing. She went away and then I took a different path. Da, 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 da. So So what I like to do during my fills is I usually do this, da, 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 and then the second time around, da, 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 just to be a little bit more interesting. Essentially I'm just playing C sharp, and then B, or C sharp, and then D. Okay, just little things really. Alright, third line of the chorus. Exact same chords as always. I remember the face, but I can't recall the name. Da, 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 da. So this time my fill pattern is a little bit different. Now I do C sharp, D, and then B. Okay, so these are really subtle differences. It's either or. Okay, so I mean, they're very small things, but when you add them all up, it'll sound interesting, okay? Alright, so for the chorus we've gone through 3 of the 4 lines. I made a point to burn all of the photographs, da 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 da. She went away and then I took a different path, da 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 da. I remember the face, but I can't recall her name. Da 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 da. Now we're gonna get to the 4th line, the last line of the chorus. Now I wonder how what's her name has been. So exact same chords, just in a different order. So once again, we start with G major, but this time your right hand is gonna have your thumb on B and your index finger on D. Now I wonder how, and this time left hand. Okay, instead of going from G major to D major, now we're going from G major to A major. Okay? Now I wonder how A major, what's her name has, and then D major, been. Okay, so again to recap, your chorus is consisting of 4 lines. The first 3 lines are go in the following order: G major, D major, F sharp major, B minor, and then A major, and then you repeat it again. This goes on 3 times. And then for the last line in your chorus, it's G major, A major, and then D major. So I'm going to go through that once again. Okay, G major. I made a D major. Point to burn all. F sharp major. B minor. I'm going to add a fill while my left hand plays A major and G major. G major. She went a D major. Sharp major, took a different B minor path. I'm going to add a fill during A major and G major. I remember D major, the face, but I F sharp major, can't recall a B minor name. Last line of the chorus. Now I wonder how A major, what's her name has D major. Okay, so that's essentially the chorus. Now we're going to move on to the next part of the song, which is the first instrumental. Okay, it's essentially sounding like this. So it's this light, airy, kind of flowery kind of sounding part. Really only consists of 2 chords, D major, okay, played in a tetrad, so D, F sharp, A, and D, and B minor, once again played in a tetrad, B, D, F sharp, and B. So, what I like to do is I like to play both a D major in tetrads with both my left hand and the right hand, and I roll the chords. See that? And then I start to break it up, playing 1 note at a time, going in an ascending and a descending kind of pattern. notice how that when I ascend, it's not just my left hand doing the work, my right hand contributes as well. So here I roll the chord, then I start with F sharp. The thumb from my right hand is going to be recruited to assist. Meanwhile, my pinky of my right hand is going to play the melody. See that? My right hand just went. Okay, so your right hand is both helping out the left hand and doing its own thing at the same time. B minor. So it's just D major, B minor, D major, B minor. That's all there is to it, to the first instrumental. And in some ways it's up to you how you want to play the left hand. I mean, I have a way of playing it, it's not the only way of playing it. I guess you could keep it simple if you wanted. So that's a simple way of doing it. You know, conceptually it's the same thing. It's just D major, B minor, repeat, D major, B minor, and then when you get more confident, you know, impose your own pattern on your left hand to make it sound interesting. Okay, I mean, you could do this. You don't necessarily have to do what I do, which is as long as you follow the idea of, you know, playing the instrumental in B major and B minor, you're good to go. You can play with the patterns at your own pace. So, now we've covered the first instrumental, let's get on to the next part, which is essentially verse number 2. Verse number 2 sounds like this. Seems like she disappeared without a trace. Did she ever marry old what's-his-face? Okay, so exactly the same thing as verse number 1. You start off with D major. Seems like she B minor, without a trace. Back to D major. Did she ever marry old B minor? What's his face? Okay, that's it. Really easy. Again, it's up to you how you want to play the left hand. Yeah, as long as you play D major and B minor, you're good to go. There's no necessarily right way of playing the left hand. If you want, it could be as simple as this. Or it could sound like this. Okay? So as long as you're following the right chord pattern, you're good to go and you're fine. It's up to you how you want to make it sound more special and interesting. If you want to make it sound interesting but you don't know where to begin and you kind of just want to copy my style, I guess I could show you what I do as well. It's kind of hard for me to annotate every single thing that I do, so I'm just going to try to play it slowly and hope that you can sort of follow along. So that's essentially verse 2. Then we move on to the chorus, which is identical to the way you played the chorus before, okay? Okay, playing the chorus the second time around is actually 99% the same thing as the way you would play the chorus the first time around. There's only one very subtle difference, okay? So this is me playing the chorus the second time. So far the first half of the chorus is exactly the same the second time around as it was the first time around. This is where it gets different though. On the third line where it says, I remember the face but I can't recall her name. That's a little bit different, okay? Sounds, and it's played like this. So the chords are exactly the same thing. It's G major, but this time have your thumb on G and your middle finger on B for your right hand. So it's playing this. D major. And then as your left hand moves to F sharp major, your right hand is playing F sharp and F, which is technically inconsistent with the F sharp major chord, but that's what gives it a sense of tension, and that's what makes it sound interesting. Meanwhile, your left hand is going through the same motions, from F sharp major to B minor to A major, back to G major. So once again, slowly, here's chorus number 2. Where chorus 2 is different from chorus number 1. Now we're back to the exact same thing. The last line of chorus number 2 is the exact same as the last line of chorus number 1. There, now we are done chorus number 2. Okay, now we're going to go into the second instrumental, okay? Which is very similar to the first instrumental we played in that it just involves 2 chords, D major and B minor. But this time we played it a little bit differently. So, with your left hand, more or less the same thing. You start off with a tetrad on D major. On your right hand, this time I just play a triad. Okay, with F sharp, A, and D. And your right hand, once again, is going to be in charge of conveying the melody. So, that's the melody, just going from D to A to C sharp. D to A to C sharp. Then you start hammering the B minor chord. So once again with the B minor chord, your left hand is playing in tetrads, your right hand is playing a triplet, consisting of D, F sharp, and B, so it's just essentially your B minor chord but inverted on D. And then move back to D major. Essentially instrumental number 2. If you want to stay faithful to the song, my recommendation is that you do the sort of crescendo in volume. So start off quiet. And end loud. And then we move on to instrumental number 3. So instrumental number 3, we're essentially using the same 5 chords that you must be bored to death of by now. It's G major, D major, F sharp major, B minor, A major, and we start the whole thing all over again from G major. Okay, once again, as you're noticing, while your left hand is hammering away at the chords that characterize the song, your right hand is playing the melody. Now you're wondering, why is it that sometimes I play with a single note and sometimes I play with a multiple? Well, the answer is that you could just play with a single note to capture the melody. But you could also play, you could recruit your other fingers, which aren't doing anything, to sort of play notes that are consistent with the chord that your left hand is currently playing. So for example, while my left hand is playing D major, my pinky might be playing the melody, while my thumb and my index finger might also play a couple of notes that are also consistent with D major. For example, F sharp and A. So watch this. Here's the difference. Versus, it just makes the song sound a little bit richer, I suppose. Okay, so that's essentially instrumental number 3. Now we're going to get into the third verse. Verse number 3 is the part that goes like this. Remember whatever, it seems like forever ago. Remember whatever, it seems like forever ago. Okay, and to play it on the piano, it sounds like this. So, not surprisingly, the chords are again G major, played in a tetrad, while your right hand, again, is in charge of the melody. Put your thumb on G, your middle finger on B, and your pinky on D. Remember. So it's your pinky and your forefinger that's doing the melody right now. And then for your left hand, I like to simulate the bass line by going from G to F sharp into D major. Notice how that when my left hand changes from G major into D major, my right hand stops playing G and B in addition to the melody. So watch this. So my thumb and my middle finger went from G and B as accompanying notes to F sharp and A as accompanying notes. The reason why is because, I mean, the melody is the same thing, but the fact that your thumb and your middle finger are changing their accompanying notes sort of reflects the change in chords. So watch this. You could sort of capture the song even without your left hand, as long as your right hand is sort of covering the chords. So that to your ears, you can sort of tell that there has been a chord change from G major to D major. If you only played the melody one note at a time, you might not be able to tell this. It would just sound like this. It's not immediately obvious that a chord change has occurred, but if you recruit your thumb and your middle finger, then you can sort of make that effect happen. Okay, verse number 4. Same chords as always, goes like this. The regrets are useless in my mind. She's in my head, I must confess. The regrets, they're useless in my mind. She's in my thoughts from so long ago. So on piano it sounds like this. chords are the same as always. You start off with G major, D major, F sharp major, B minor, A major, G major, D major, F sharp major, B minor, A major. Meanwhile, your right hand once again is playing the melody. Note also, once again, how when I'm transitioning from G major to D major, my left hand will sort of try to imitate the bass line. Just by hammering F sharp, like the notes F sharp, not the chord, the notes F sharp, before hitting the D major chord. Okay, so... So now we have covered verse 4. Verse 5 is essentially just, okay, so verse 5 is the part where the guy goes, so it's essentially your left hand playing the same 5 chords you've always been playing. So G major, D major, F sharp major, B minor, A major, and repeat all over again. Meanwhile, your left hand is playing, your right hand is playing an incredibly easy job. It's just E and D. And if you want to make it interesting or sound more powerful, you can play it in octaves, so your thumb and your pinky. One thing that I found you might not necessarily have a problem with, but I do, is whenever you're trying to like simulate power, okay, so like playing loudly and like in octaves, it's a lot easier to make mistakes. So it might make sense to just play one note at a time. So. Find that you're making a lot of mistakes when your right hand is playing in octaves. I don't know, it might just be because I have small hands. If you have large hands, maybe it's easier for you. I don't know, just a suggestion in case you're having trouble with it. Okay, now we're going to cover how to play verse number 6, okay? Sounds like this. Okay, so you'll notice that for the first 3 quarters of the 6th verse, you just need to play G major and D major repeating. Okay, so and in the darkest nights, that was just G major and D major. If my memory serves me right, again, just G major and D major. I'll never turn back time. Just G major and D major. Forgetting you, but not the time. The last line is the only time where you need to do G major, A major, and then D major again. And that's verse 6. That's essentially the last verse, and then you just follow through with the instrumental that you did the first time around. So. Again, if you can't remember how to play the instrumental, just rewind through this video, but it's very easy. It's just D major, B minor, D major, B minor, and then end with D major. Okay, so that's essentially how you play the song. Again, just start off with unbroken chords to keep things simple. you get better at the song, you can start customizing the left hand so as to play the chords in your own style to make it sound a little bit more interesting. So there's no, fixed correct way of playing the left hand. As long as you're playing the chords correctly, that's what matters. And, from there it's just a matter of making it sound more complicated versus less complicated, depending on the pattern in which you play the notes of the chord, okay? So that's about it. Good luck, have fun with the song.